Alrighty, today we'll be replacing the front struts with quick struts on this 2002 Pontiac Sunfire. Let's get to it. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do after we jack it up and put it on jack stands is take the wheel off. We'll start by using this 19mm socket and taking the plastic lug nut covers which are attached to the hubcap and take those off. Now be gentle because these are plastic and they might break. Now that the hubcap has been removed, we can go ahead and use the same 19mm to take the lug nuts right off the wheel. So now that the wheel has been removed, we can go ahead and inspect. Now we see here we only have 2 bolts and nuts holding the strut assembly to the steering knuckle, so this is going to be a pretty easy one. These nuts are 21mm. While we zip them off, you can use an adjustable wrench on the other side to hold the nuts in place, but that's not necessary since these have teeth to hold them in place. So now with my snazzy surgical gloves, I'll go ahead and take the nuts off. In some cases you'll need to leave them on, so when you smack it with the hammer it doesn't balloon out the base of the bolt or damage the threads. But in this case we'll be alright. Now we'll have to use this chintzy hammer because both of us forgot ours on our toolboxes, but that's okay, this will work. So now as you can see, we're going to try to show you how fast these come out when you actually hit them. So let's try now. Here we go. No. How about now? How about now? No, maybe. Okay, how about now? Alright, there we go. See? Wasn't that bad. Oh, and before I forget, here's the bolt with the little teeth that holds it in place. Makes it way easier. Now we're going to take the top fasteners off. Normally it's 3 nuts or 3 bolts, but this design is a little different. I'm going manual on this one with this 13mm socket because apparently the battery on my electric died, but that's okay, that's how it goes. You'll want to take the bolt all the way out after cleaning off these leaves. Once we have that out, loosen the nuts just enough so we can grab the strut from the base. Here we can go ahead and grab on the base of the strut and loosen it from the steering knuckle, and we can go ahead and start to remove the nuts. Once the nut is free, push the steering knuckle to the front of the car and the strut towards the back of the car and it'll drop right out. Grab it firmly, quick and simple, just like this. And there it is. On to inspection and comparison. As you can see, obviously the differences between the new strut assembly versus the old one. We wanted to note on the bottom there was a slotted hole versus a solid one, so you can adjust the camber after the job is complete. An alignment will need to be done to make sure you have even tire wear. We chose to go with a quick strut as no disassembly would be required, and if you've never used a spring compressor, we highly recommend you do not, as improper use can cause massive injury and or death. So we wanted to keep it simple. So it's time for the new one to go in. Our new strut assemblies came with hardware, so we're going to use those. All we have to do is get these studs into the hole, just like this. Or wait, hold on a second. Now, no, whoops. Alright, there we go. Once we get them in there, we'll take the nuts and loosely thread them just to hold them in place. Once those are in, we'll line up the bolt and get it threaded into the hole. Make sure it does not become cross-threaded, or otherwise we have another problem. All we have to do now is take the steering knuckle, slide it into the base of the strut assembly, and line up the holes. Once we have that done, we can take these bolts and just go ahead and put them in, just like this. Wait, hold on. All right, this takes a little eye work, and slide them in. There's 1, and there's 2. Taking our chintzy hammer, we will go ahead and smack the bolts even with the flange on the top and on the bottom. Once that is done, we can go ahead and take the nuts and start to thread them on both of the bolts. I wanted to take a moment to mention that the tape on top of the strut was left on there on purpose for effect. You should probably go ahead and take that off before you install the strut. Just saying. Once you have spun the nuts pretty deeply on the bolts, you can go ahead and take your trusty impact and give it quite a few dooga-doogas on the top and on the bottom and make sure they're pretty tight. Just like so. All we have left to do now is tighten the bolts on the top. Now you want to make sure they're pretty snug, but do not over tighten. This hardware kit had different sized bolts than the originals, so you'll have to see what they are with the kit that you get. All we have left to do is install and torque the wheel and put the hubcap on. Torquing the wheels down to 100 foot-pounds as per specification is what we'll do next. Finally, we'll take the hubcap fasteners and tighten them by hand. We want to make sure they're snug but not too tight because we don't want to break the plastic. And that's it. Well done. Here's a glimpse of the tools that we use for this job. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them on the comments below, and please visit us on our Patreon, Facebook, and Instagram. All the links will be posted below. When our website is available, you can also link to that there. Go ahead and show us some love by liking and subscribing, and please hit the bell to be notified when new videos are available.